Welcome to Value for Money. I'm your host Warba and I'm here to tell you whether or not Ghost Recon Future Soldier is worth your money. Now the most important thing first. This is a console port, and with that comes a few annoying things that should drive any PC gamer nuts. Firstly, if the game detects a gamepad, I'm not talking about a console controller here, I'm talking about a normal PC gamepad. If the game detects such a gamepad, the game refuses to accept mouse controls during gameplay. It flat out refuses to let you look around with the mouse. So you have to first deinstall the drivers for your gamepad, because Future Soldier doesn't cooperate even when the gamepad isn't even plugged in. But the problems do not end here. Turns out that besides the whole gamepad business, the game is also terribly unstable. While playing through the single player campaign, my game client crashed about 8 times. This is completely unacceptable. So Ubisoft needs to patch this disaster ASAP. As it stands, the game is barely fit for purpose. Once I got through all these problems, I was faced with a 10-hour campaign, which by modern standards is an average length for the single player campaign of a multiplayer focused title. But if you're not interested in multiplayer, the lack of single player content is unacceptable for the price of $50 or €50 respectively, if you ask me. What sets the game apart from similar titles is that besides your usual run and gunplay, you also get to use slightly futuristic military hardware, such as scouting drones and throwable sensors that show you enemy locations. This brings an interesting twist to the multiplayer as well, since you can't simply hide in a corner and snipe people from afar without being seen anymore. Also, another big plus for the game is that you don't get any kill streak bonuses that help you dominate the game even more, the way Call of Duty did. I find the gameplay way more balanced in Ghost Recon, although there is a progression system that allows you to unlock additional weapons, weapon upgrades and other types of gear. These upgrades are only slight improvements. If you're a better shot than your opponent, you will most likely still kill him, even if he has a more pimped out gun than you have. The difference in weapons comes into play mostly when the teams are already balanced skill-wise. Talking about weapons, this is Ghost Recon's major selling point, the gunsmith feature. You can build your own custom weapons in this game by unlocking an absurd amount of different weapon parts, ranging from scopes over barrels and going even as far as changing the trigger of each gun. The level of detail is mind-blowing. Most of these choices are side grades though. Each choice changes one or more of the following stats: power, range, control, maneuverability, rate of fire, and magazine size. Also, the various trigger choices allow changing the firing type of your weapon, be it automatic, single fire, or burst fire. But let's talk a little bit more about multiplayer now. There are 4 different multiplayer modes. First of all, conflict. Various different objectives spawn around the map and you have to capture them to get victory points. After the time limit ends, the leading team wins. Next is decoy. There are 3 pieces of intel on the map. The attacking team has to grab the one correct intel, although nobody knows which one is the correct one. After you have the intel, you have to bomb the location mentioned in said intel. Thirdly, we have sabotage. This is a bombing run mode. There is a bomb in the middle of the map, one player has to grab it and bring it into the enemy base and detonate it, while the rest of the team protects him. And lastly, siege. The only mode that doesn't allow respawning. Every player has only one life. The attacking team has to enter the enemy base and retrieve a piece of intel. I personally dislike this one because after you die you have to wait until the next round, which gets boring really fast. When I play a shooter, I want to shoot things and not wait around till the next round starts. The last game mode Ghost Recon features is Guerrilla mode. Now this is your standard horde mode. You can play with up to 3 other players and you have to protect a certain area from being overwhelmed by enemy forces. After a set amount of waves, you get certain bonuses you can use, like a radar that tells you enemy locations, etc. So, my final verdict: is Ghost Recon Future Soldier worth your hard-earned money? The single player is not in an acceptable state for a game costing $50. The single player feels tacked on. They should have used the development time to further improve the multiplayer experience. Also, the story is as generic as it gets. Single player gets 1 star. Now, multiplayer is a totally different beast. It is fun, engaging, and the objectives matter way more than blindly gunning down the enemy, thus allowing those teams to win that focus on completing the game in a tactical manner. There is also a nice variety of multiplayer game modes. Now with all that said, the multiplayer experience, while nice by itself, doesn't feature many new things to people that already played other modern military shooters. Multiplayer ends up with 4 stars. Now, at this point I would give you the final score, but in this case I have to first reduce some score for the following reasons. The game is terribly unstable. The game crashes at random, and when you are using gamepad, the game bugs out and forces you to disable the gamepad drivers first. Because of these two major flaws, I have to reduce 1 full star, since the game is not fit for purpose on PC. These things do not apply on the console version as far as I am aware. So after adding everything up, we end up with an end score of 2 stars. Due to the price of $50, I would not recommend Ghost Recon Future Soldier. If you haven't played all that many modern military shooters and you want to experience a fun multiplayer game, sure, buy it. But other than that, the game doesn't offer enough to warrant its $50 price tag. If you want to see more of my stuff, go to youtube.com/Warba3. Please leave a comment below and rate this video. Your opinion is important to me.